Stu Conversations, the West Coast version. We got Canelo versus Bivol tonight. Highly anticipated. Everybody's talking about this fight. Probably his most difficult fight on paper since the Golovkin fights. What does everybody think? Personally, I know I get a lot of slack for saying, "Oh, I always pick against Canelo," but I really don't. I mean, I did pick up. I did pick him to win against Saunders and Caleb. I don't. But this fight is a tough one. This fight's a tough one. The only thing I see with these Vegas judges is if it goes the distance, it's hard to. I don't even think it matters how the fight goes. Once it goes the distance, you know who's going to get the fight, regardless of how competitive it is. So, unfortunately, in boxing, we're starting to get to the point where we're just paying for the entertainment value of a good fight and not actually the honesty of a good result, regardless. I do think both guys could knock each other out. Listen, Bivol has pretty good power. Canelo has good power. We've seen him carry up his power to light heavyweight, although this is a more live light heavyweight than was Sergey Kovalev at that point in time in his career when Canelo fought him. Couple of things, Bivol has, likes to have a straight punch type of style. He likes to use those straight punches, the jabs and 1-2s. He's good with his legs. And personally, I don't see Canelo as a guy who's dealt well with good jabbers. If you don't have a good jabber and try to jab at him, he's great at counterpunching. Listen, Canelo, one of his biggest weapons is being a sharp, powerful counterpuncher, and I think he sort of gets you to doubt yourself and doubt whether you want to actually throw those punches or be a busy fighter against him by having such an ability to counterpunch you and create that doubt in you. But I've noticed during his career when fighters have a good jab and they're able to kind of offset him, he's not the quickest guy on his feet, and the jab sort of gives him trouble. Even in fights that he's won. Listen, I thought Cotto gave him problems with that jab. I thought Golovkin gave him problems with that jab. Even Lara to some degree, those straight punch guys that have legs, they do give him problems. And Kovalev, although he was coming forward in the first fight, even he was backing up boxing in the second fight and had a very, very good jab. So I'm curious tonight to see how Canelo is able to make those adjustments. People say, oh, he's going to get inside, he's going to get him to the body and break Bivol. Possibly, but he's got to get inside first, One thing we notice also, I feel like Canelo is a second-half fighter. Second half of the fight type of fighter. He's not really typically a front runner, but he'll get you out of there if you're not on his level, as we saw in the Avni Yildirim fight. But ultimately, I think against the quality fighters, he's kind of a second half fighter. He sort of processes all the information into his brain and sort of starts to get your timing down very well. He also he's getting more and more used to pressuring guys coming forward, but again, I don't see him having the fastest legs, so I'm curious to see how he's going to deal with Bivol, because Bivol has two things here. He's got good legs and he's a busy guy. He likes to throw those 1s and 1-2s, and he can hurt you with that right hand, let's face it, and he's a big guy. So I don't know. Canelo's chin has been seems really solid to this point. I don't think Kovalev ever threw anything that was really mean intentioned. Neither did Caleb Plant, really. A lot of times I'm finding myself looking at these opponents and saying, why don't they have such enthusiasm to attack Canelo like they do against other fighters and when they fight certain guys? And some of it is due to Canelo's ability to hurt them, to counterpunch them with power. He makes them have that doubt. He does create doubt. That's on Canelo. But I don't think Bivol is a guy that's going to be that intimidated. Let's face it. You guys know how I feel about your Eastern European fighters, and we saw that Golovkin was not intimidated by Canelo. He went, they fought their fights. I see Bivol sort of in the same mold, and that's why I see him as being a tougher opponent than Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders, aside from the fact that he's actually naturally bigger and he's a light heavyweight. He also is mentally strong. You guys are going to say, oh, well, Sergey Kovalev, he wasn't really that tough in that fight. He wasn't really mentally strong. That was sort of a checked-out Kovalev to me. That was a guy he's been in tough fights, and mentally he's already kind of checked out. You get to that point in your career where you're still capable of boxing, but mentally you don't have that mean streak. You're sort of checked out even while you're fighting, and you're looking to fight those fights more. It's more important to not get hurt in those fights than it is to actually win those fights when you reach that certain mindset. And certain guys do get to that point in their careers when they get older. I don't think Bivol's at that point in his career yet, though. I think Bivol is a hungry guy still. He's still trying to. It's a legacy fight for him. He's undefeated. He's done a lot in his career as well. Been in with some good fighters, some good punchers. He's done a good job. He's beaten ex-world champions like Jean Pascal and current world champions like Joe Smith. So let's face it. These Eastern European guys typically come from a very solid amateur background. So again, I don't see him breaking that easily. I don't see him being that easy of a proposition to solve for Canelo Alvarez. I do think, like I said, Canelo has to get to the body, but how does he get to the body? How does he close that gap is the key. You know, people saying, oh, he's going to pressure him and close the gap and get to the body. But has Canelo Alvarez really had fast feet in his career? That's one thing I've never seen from Canelo Alvarez is having fast feet. So how do you get to a guy with the quick feet of Bivol? Listen, I think Canelo's got a great chin. I don't think he's going to get stopped. I know a lot of people see the power of both guys and say this ends in a knockout. For me, I think this goes the distance. And in Vegas, we know what happens when it goes the distance. I see a controversial decision win for Canelo Alvarez tonight.